Hello, my name is Walid and welcome to my channel. Today's recipe is going to be stuffed vine leaves. Stuffed vine leaf is one of those recipes that traveled a lot, developed a lot, changed from one place to another, so there is no right or wrong way to do it. This is just one type of way to do it. Here are some of the locations where you could find this recipe, and I probably missed a few. Let's look at the ingredients. We have about 3 potatoes, garlic, 3 onions, 3 green peppers, about 4 tomatoes, and for the herb section we have some mint and coriander. Also we have short grain rice that has been soaked for at least half an hour. Since we'll be using a food processor to chop most of the ingredients, we need to remove the mint from the stalk, because the mint stalk is very tough and we don't need it there. As for the rice preparation, we need to thoroughly wash the rice to remove the excess starch it has. Carrot rice tend to have a lot of starch, so we need to reduce it a little bit. No need to go crazy about the washing process. 2 to 3 times would be enough. Once you're done, leave it soaked in plenty of water for at least half an hour. Depending on where you live in the world, grapevine leaves come in different containers and sizes. That's why I did not specify the amount of rice for the ingredient, because I know the amount of rice I need for this container of vine leaves. So you might need to make more or less depending on your size. Just to give you a base mark, if your container is about this size, then you will need 400 grams of rice and the ingredients that I stated. That will be plenty. Finally, the container of grapevine leaves was the 900 grams. Now, let's look at how we need to prepare the vine leaves. The grapevine leaves usually come in briny solution. So what we need to do is drain that solution and wash them thoroughly under tap water. Make sure that you get in between the leaves and open them up. Make sure that you gently clean the leaves so you don't tear them up, because they can easily be torn. In the end, this is what you should have. Make sure that you change the water during the washing process at least twice and get in between the leaves. Leave them soak in the water until you're ready to use them. In some recipes you might see the use of fresh leaves. The main reason why I don't like using fresh vine leaves is the extra preparation involved. They require thorough cleaning and boiling. With the ones in the jar, you just need to clean them. That's the main reason why I don't use them. Let's prepare the vegetables. The good news is we'll be using a food processor, so no need for detailed cut. Chop your vegetables into quarters and just throw them into the food processor. Chop your vegetable using the food processor as finely as possible. Remember, they will be going inside the vine, so you want them to be as soft as possible, as fine as possible. That's why we're using a food processor. The same will be done to the green peppers. Once your vegetables are chopped and ready, we keep them in a large bowl. In my case, I keep them in the steel bowl in front. Personally, I like to add the garlic with the tomato. So here I used about 8 cloves of garlic. I crushed them and removed the core, and then added them to the food processor before adding the tomatoes. Notice the garlic in the food processor? Soon it will be joined with the tomato. I think it goes without saying, but make sure you don't fill your food processor more than the max, or it won't chop properly. As we discussed before, we want the stem and all, so we roughly chop the coriander before adding it to the food processor, just to help with the mixing. Next, we'll be adding the mint. Make sure that you only use the leaves, no stem. That's it. Your vegetables are done. Add them to the rest of the mixture and mix them well. Now, let's talk about the spices before adding the rice. What we have is the following. Starting with the salt, moving clockwise. We have salt, ginger powder, coriander powder, cumin powder, black pepper, turmeric, and at the center, paprika. All except for the turmeric is a tablespoon. For the turmeric is about half a teaspoon. That's what your vegetable mixture should look like before adding the spices. So let's add them. Mix them well using a spoon. Now your vegetables are ready to receive the rice. Make sure that you drain all the water before adding the rice. Mix that well with the vegetables. And now we are ready to start stuffing the vine leaves. Stuffing the vine leaf. The first thing that needs to be done is making sure that your leaf is on the right side. And the right side is where are the rough edges, the bottom of the leaf. That's where you need to start. Once you establish the right direction, then you need to take a teaspoon amount of the mixture, no larger than a teaspoon. Center it in the middle, and then, starting from the bottom, move the leaves up and start rubbing them around. Tuck in the sides, make sure it's tight, and close it in. One leaf down and more to go. The stuffing of the grapevine can be done as a group activity. It's really great to get the family together and everybody chips in. That way you can finish much more quickly. Once all the leaves are done, keep them aside so we can prepare the pot. Remember the potatoes that we had in the beginning of the ingredients? Now is their time. What we're looking to do is peel the potatoes and count them into round pieces. Make sure that they are equal in thickness so they can lay flat on the bottom of the pan. Just like that. If you can't get an equal thickness, then you might consider using a mandolin to cut the potatoes. The reason we're doing this is we don't want the grapevine to touch the bottom. Therefore, we're laying it with potatoes and onions. The same rule goes for the onion. Cut them round without creating a rough terrain for the grapevine leaves. You don't want them to be up and down all over the place. Try as much as possible to create an equal surface and start laying them down just like that. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Some recipes layer the bottom with vine leaves, but my thinking has always been, why waste good vine leaves? Use potatoes where you can eat them instead of just plain grapevines that you won't use and discard later. That's my thinking. Make sure they are close together without much gaps. That's why it's great to have different sizes of vine leaves, so you can stuff them next to each other and fill in the gaps. Don't be afraid to press on them with a little force to make sure they are tightly packed together. Finally, add in some green chilies for extra flavor. No heat should be incorporated because we did not pierce them or cut them. I also like to add in with the chilies some lemons. Cut them and add them in. One large lemon is more than enough. Now, let's talk about the cooking liquid. You need the following: some lemon juice, pomegranate molasses, olive oil. Now, this is my preferred method of cooking. You don't need these to cook the grapevine leaves, but this is the way I like to cook them, using a mixture of those three. This mixture will result in a sweet, sour taste. A side note, the lemon juice is not exactly a lemon juice. It's like a watered down version of lemon juice. If you have a fresh lemon juice, then you need to water it down a little bit. What are the proportions that I like to cook with? That's it. About 400 milliliters of pomegranate molasses, 200 milliliters of lemon juice, and about 100 milliliters of olive oil. That's the combo. We are also going to be using a liter of good salted chicken stock. Start by adding the chicken stock to the pot. Make sure that you stir in the mixture before adding it to the pot. Don't leave it layered like that. The pomegranate, the lemon and the oil. Mix them up and add it to the pot.
Baby, you give me ice and fire.
Finally, before moving to the stove, we need to add in plate to the top of the pot, or if you have any weight, cooking weight, that you can press down the grape vine. The reason we're doing this, to make sure that they stay in place and don't move around and start opening up. Start the cooking process on a low to medium heat for about 1.5 hours. Yes, you can go that low. Once the 1.5 hours is done, you can turn off the heat and wait for it to cool down completely to room temperature. Don't open it. Once it's cold enough, you can carefully discard the chilies without breaking them and remove the lemons. There are so many ways you can enjoy the vine leaves. You can definitely eat them hot or room temperature. Some people even enjoy them cold. Try them out in any way you like. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me the best way to store them is to get a container, fill it up with olive oil and dip them in. And you can store them in the fridge for about a week. Thank you all for watching till the end. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. If you liked the video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Till the next time.